Hi, I'm Mandy Cameron and I'm here to show you how to make this lovely beaded snowflake. So we start this snowflake by threading on the beads. Now the very easiest way is to sellotape the end of your yarn to keep all the threads together, because some of the holes in the beads aren't large enough to take a bodkin as well as the thread. So I've already put 4 on. I'm just going to do number 5, easy as that, number 6, there we go, and we can cut that sellotape piece off at the end when we sew in. Starting with the slip knot, with the tail piece in your right hand, you twist the yarn and hold it there. You bring the working part through the loop and pull. And there you have your slip knot. Pop your hook in, pull on the 2 sides and fasten up your stitch, but not too tight because you need the crochet hook to flow through the stitch. Tail on the right as always. We're going to do your first chain. Now holding it can be quite difficult, but the traditional way is to have your yarn round your index finger and hold the knot between the thumb and the middle finger. This gives you leverage here to hook the yarn. Now I've got hold of my yarn in the way that suits me. I'm going to hook under the yarn, turning the hook down to engage it so I can pull it through the stitch. I am pulling on the tail as well to create the hole for the stitch to go through. And then I'm going to do yarn over, this is what it's called, yarn over, twist your hook round through the stitch, and that's your second chain. Do a third one, hook it again, 4th one, 5th and 6th. Make sure you don't twist your chain because your V's of your stitches have to be all facing the same way, otherwise it will twist. We now need to make this into the circle, the centre circle of the snowflake. And we do this by popping the hook into the first chain that we made, engaging the yarn and pulling it through that stitch, and you have 2 stitches on the hook. You then pull it, the front one through the back one, so you're left with 1. This gives you your centre circle. This can be quite hard to hold, so what I do is I pop a stitch marker in. I have something to hold on to and it keeps my circle open. I now need to start the first spoke of the snowflake, and I do that by making a 3 chain in the same way as I did the beginning chain, hooking the yarn and pulling it through the stitch. That equates to your first treble stitch, and I'm going to space in between each of the treble stitches with a chain, so I need to do a 1 chain. The next stitch is the treble stitch, so I'm going to hook the yarn over. I'm then going to put the hook into the circle, engaging the yarn and pulling it through, so I have 3 stitches. I'm hooking the yarn through again, turning my hook down, and I will pull it through 2 of those stitches, and I'm left with 2. I do it again, I hook the yarn round and pull it through those 2 stitches, and that is a treble. Then you do 1 chain. And I'm going to do that 1 treble, 1 chain 10 more times. So in all you have 12 spokes. I've gone round and I've got my 12 spokes, including the 3 chain to begin with. And I need to join that now into a circle. So I'm going to count up the chain, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put my hook into that 3rd chain and I'm going to slip stitch it. So I'm just going to hook the yarn through that chain and through the stitch on my hook, and that will join it. I now need to do the 2nd round of spokes, and to do that I'm just going to slip stitch in between the first 2 into that what we call a 1 chain space. So your hook goes through the space, engages the yarn and pulls it through, and then you pull it through that stitch on the hook, because I needed to start in between the 2 posts. On this round, the stitches are treble and a 2 chain, repetitive. So I need to do a 3 chain to mimic a treble stitch to start with. And then I'd need to do my 2 chain space. In the next space, I do my treble stitch, round the hook, into the space, engage the yarn and pull it through, round the hook, pull it through 2 stitches, round the hook, pull it through 2 more stitches, and you're left with your 1 at the top again. So here we do 2 chain to create the space, and another treble into the next post. Yarn over the hook, through the space, engage the yarn and pull it through, hook the yarn, pull it through 2, and 2 again. Chain 2, and you continue in all these spaces doing a treble, then a chain 2, until you come to the end. So there should be 12 posts again in all. There I have my 12 spokes on my second round of the snowflake. Now don't worry if it starts to slant. This is perfectly normal because you're going in the spiral, and that will rectify itself once we join it and go on to the next round. Please be careful on your 12th stitch not to overrun this chain, which is your first post. Now we've done the 2 chain, and in the same as we did the first round, you count up 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, you go into the 3rd one and you slip stitch it to join. So you pulled the yarn through the stitch and then through the one on your hook, and there it's joined it. We're now ready to start the petals points of the snowflake. This time we're going to do a double crochet. And a double crochet, you do not yarn over first. You go straight into the space, the 2 chain space. You engage your yarn and you pull it through. You then go yarn over the hook and you pull it through the 2 stitches. It's a very small stitch compared to the treble. The next step, we're moving on to the next space where we are going to do 4 treble stitches. We're now at the point where we need to add one of the beads. So having done the 4 trebles, I'm going to do 1 chain, then I'm going to bring up a bead and put it at the base of the chain stitch that I've just done. Keeping it to the front of the work, I'm now just going to do a chain stitch behind it, which is just hooking the yarn and pulling it through the stitch. There it is, that's how we've added the bead. We're now going to do the other half of the petal point on the snowflake by doing 4 trebles. Two, 3, 4. We're now going to what we call anchor this side of the point by just going into the next space and doing a double crochet, which again, no yarn around the hook, you just go straight through the space, you engage the yarn and pull it through, then you hook your yarn and pull it through the 2 stitches. That is just the last part of that petal point. You now need to do another petal and you go straight into 4 treble stitches into the next space. Number 4, and we need to do a 1 chain, bring a bead up, keep it to the front of the work and do a chain behind it. And now do the other side, which is 4 more trebles. And then just to finish that side, we do another double crochet into the next space. And you do that on each of the spaces to create the 6 points. Now I've done 5 of the points. I'm now getting ready to do the final one, but you may be a little confused because it doesn't look like you've got enough space to do so. The last space is for your 4 trebles, your 2 chain, your 4 trebles. So don't worry about the fact that it doesn't look like you can do a double crochet afterwards. So I'm just going to go into that last space and do my last point with the 4 trebles. My 1 chain, bring up my last bead, chain behind it, 4 trebles, and it does look like you've gone too far, but you haven't, because there's your double crochet, which was the one that you did right at the beginning, to join it at the end, and all you do is you slip stitch into the top of that double crochet. So we're just going to go in there, pull the yarn through and through the one on the hook and slip stitch, and that is your snowflake. I'm going to cut the thread and fasten off. Fasten off, you just pull that yarn through your stitch all the way through and pull. And there you have your snowflake. Please join me again for future live demonstrations on Create and Craft.